Please give a warm body welcome to Michael Thomas. Thank you, Steve. I thought a fun night's not a fun night without an agenda, so I'm going to use Steve's biography as an agenda for my set tonight. Steve kind of got an insight of how unreliable and disorganised I am when he asked us to write 100 words as a biography, and 2 weeks later I hadn't done it. So, just going to Steve's biography, Michael Pittock, right, that's me. Okay, so what I did do is today I wrote my own biography, so this is an autobiography. And it was written today in about 45 minutes in McDonald's, and if you can see the state of it, if I stumble, I do apologise, okay? So autobiography, my teeth could be cleaner, my body could be leaner, and instead of vice versa, have my ma's height and my dad's nose. My head could be smaller, my legs could be taller, and my hairline and eyebrows could be a little bit more close. A little bit more close is a terrible sentence, by the way, I'm sorry about that. I'm from the school of hard knocks, well, stand up Jeremiah at Tyndalk. I beat you all in a poor off, but child poverty is no joking matter. Me nana was my childhood best friend, beating together before it was on trend. Street wisdom isn't gained, visiting elderly relatives for a natter. I could have stuck at school, at college and school, instead of the mentality of it not being cool, but this apathy to education thankfully didn't last. I wasn't cut out for the military or long trips in the merchant navy. I just wanted pints with my mates and more time with my lass. I could be less reliant on medication and more disciplined with meditation. Even better, I could be free from problems with mental health. I could act a little tighter, spend money a little lighter. Instead, I'm resigned to a life without wealth. I could drink a little less and live amongst less mess. I guess organised lives make for healthier minds, but changes for the youth. I'm getting too long in the tooth. My name's Michael Thomas Pittock. I'm here to do imperfect rhymes. So, Michael Pittock lives in South Shields. I do live in South Shields. I'm from South Shields. Apart from a couple of little spells where I've worked away, I mentioned there the military and the merchant navy. I've pretty much lived in South Shields all my life. Jenny and Steve and Tony have had the misfortune of hearing this about 5 times, but there's not many other familiar faces. So I'm going to do this one just exclusively about South Shields. South Shields is the lad riding his bike whilst carrying another against the flow of traffic all the way down the Jonner. It's the last riding a moped on the footpath of Billick Hall. Not a single fuck is given at all. It's the dog in the boogies as lost as his owner, surrounded by the hordes of disenfranchised villas. It's really Scott, but sadly not Tony's brother, and maybe that's why the local boys' films are better. It's the world's greatest half marathon. The Brendan Foster cash cow marches on, entrance fees rising above the rate of inflation. It's John Kirkpatrick but none of his donkeys, an entire Labour council and Mr. Monkey. Information, defamation, public funds misappropriation. It's the ongoing suspension of our CLP, separation of local government from their own party's MP. No strength in unity and no solidarity. It's urban decline, the loss of Woolies and Marxies, decades of neglect from centre-left and the Tories, the industrialisation of this nation only feeds working class desperation. It's councillors with a not on my doorstep mentality, describing as a doss house what is in reality, a chance at salvation in the form of cheap accommodation. It's a rise in homelessness, a rise in hopelessness, third sector workers speaking like big businesses, the marginalised, marginalising another marginalised, racing to the bottom to create the areas most despised. But we're also the people, the location and the history. Never have we had a conservative constituency. We're the country's first settled Muslim community, a lesson in multiculturalism, harmony and diversity. We're the coast and the cliffs and the beautiful beaches, the mouth of the Tyne to its more cosmopolitan reaches. We're filled with monuments of previous industry power, all overlooked by our own angel, the water tower. We're not the homogeneous label of Geordie. We're unique in all of our Sundance and glory. It's for these reasons this town will battle on. Imagine not being from South fucking Shields, man. Thank you. Michael Pittock lives in South Shields and is a new voice on the North East spoken word scene. Pretty accurate. June last year was the first time I ever wrote a poem to perform, which was just that poem I've just done there. I donated the word like Steve mentions. But I kind of have always written poems, and Picasso or anything. I didn't have eras or anything like that. You know, between about 2015, 2016, 2017, I wrote, we could call that semi-serious poems for Facebook likes. You know, just pretending that I'm just joking, but really hoping people quite like my poems. And then prior to that was many years of writing secret poems and also poems to take the piss out of my mates.
My teacher lives in South Shields.
Excellent, whereabouts?
I don't know, I just knew that she was from Cat Patrol. She knows the name.
She must be a great woman.
She was only there for a year, about 7 hours.
Right. So like I say, 2 years prior to writing things to perform. One was, like I said, taking the piss out of my mates was secret poems. I wrote them and I never told anybody about it, but it was something I'd done and I had a bit of free time. And looking back at them, there's not much I think I could actually relate to a wider audience because none of you know my mates for a start, really. But this one is about one of my best friends. One night, and it's a bit mean because he's a really lovely person, and it's about his social awkwardness. Now I'm no less socially awkward than he is, and I might seem a bit confident in front of a group of people, but one-on-one I thought a bit like. So basically me, him and another lad, a lot more confident than us two, out in South Shields, and we're bumping into two girls from Liverpool, and one of my mates was giving it all this. Absolutely full of patter. And me and my mate just stood nervously next to the other girl, probably made her feel awful and awkward. And after a while I just thought, this is too awkward to say anything at all. I just thought, I'm just probably not trying. Yeah, bless me mate, he just wanted to try and make a conversation. So this is one I wrote in the Take the Piss Out of My Mates period. And if you don't know your early 2000s Premier League footballers, I'm really sorry, okay? You just won't get this. It's got a punchline that you won't get, so I apologise. He's taken the lead, I'm dying on my arse. I need to put an end to this hideous farce. She's up from Liverpool for debauchery and fun, and so far this evening I've offered her none. This silence is painful, her boredom is visible. This can't go on, it's getting unbearable. Fuck it, here I go, I'm cutting me loss. What do you think of Milan Barros? That was the truth, so he actually said that after 5 minutes of silence. Yes. He asked her what I thought to her on Milan Barros.
Was Middlesbrough in there?
No, this was his Liverpool playing days. He thought he could relate to her. She didn't answer. She just didn't answer. So then we'll go on to semi-serious poems for Facebook likes. Mainly they were poems about dead animals, which is a bit weird. So I used to drive to work and see roadkill and write a poem about it and put it on Facebook and think, people think I'm really weird, I do it quite like it. One Saturday night last Easter, so it's topical, you know, it was Easter last weekend, I was probably quite pissed on the Saturday night, and as well as watching Match of the Day and drinking cans of cider, my night involved picking up 2 dead mice that my cats had killed. So Easter themed, semi-serious, seeing if I could try and write something slightly serious. This is called Easter Mice, and in brackets, cats are dickheads. Baby mouse in the kitchen, dead mouse by the bins. Did they too suffer greatly for all of our sins? Are they too not God's children, sitting by him in eternal life, neglected in their existence but rewarded for transient strife? Why has he forsaken them, deserted in their hour of need, stripped of all their dignity as a plaything, not a feed? Will they too rise tomorrow and save our mortal souls, forgive the way of demons from beyond their earthly roles? Baby mouse in the kitchen, dead mouse by the bins, heading in his direction as our equal and our kin. So, an Easter poem about dead mice, that's what it's all about. Alright, okay, so he took part in the World Poetry Slam in 2017 and performed a feature set at the Stands in February 2018. Steve and Jenny were here, so a couple of these poems will have heard. Michael's themes include mental health. So, the next one's a bit much, it's a bit intense about mental health. So I'm just going to ease us in with a more light-hearted one about mental health. I was recently off work, had a bad spell of, just generally struggling with day-to-day life, and I was playing the conservatory at the time, and this 8 lines come to us when I was playing the conservatory. I was really hating work at the time, that's why I was off. When I shuffle off this mortal coil to take my place amongst the soil, never again to feel the light of day, just the mercy of subterranean decay. Don't worry the fortune of my soul, for its eternal life you'll never know. Just read my stone and know I smirk. At least I don't have to go to work. This is the most serious one. I want to be relatively grounded here. My mental health problems are relatively minor compared to a lot of people. I've got good friends who it's crippling to them, and it isn't for me. It's just something in the background all the time. I recently had a course of another course of kind of therapy and stuff. Spoke with a doctor, and he kind of pointed out that what I was describing is kind of something that's always been present in your life. As a kid, I probably didn't recognise it. My parents definitely didn't recognise it. They just thought I was a weird kid, to be honest. So this is about kind of my life in mental health problems in various manifestations. I'm 7 years old and I'm crying to my granda. Fears about what I don't understand have spilled over, and I'm being reassured that my own demise is far into the future. I'm 13 years old, I'm crying this time delusions of grandeur. I'm explaining to my mum that I'm better than my sister, but in my mind the weight of self-important weighs much greater. I'm 17 years old and I'm crying for my dad. We don't talk about our feelings, but I know he could be happier. And in the solitude of my box bedroom, I'm willing him better. I'm 23 years old, crying as I study. So Bobby Robson graces the stage as sports personality, and his speech is the catalyst for tears shed over pressures of university. I'm 26 years old, crying tap down the telephone as I pace around the bedrooms of my parents' empty home. And the kindly crisis helpline lady comforts me I'm not alone. 29 years old, crying at 5 in the morning. The scene is soundtracked by thunder, illuminated by lightning, and panic courses through my body at the thought of work that morning. I'm 33 years old. I cry like that no more. I've talked, and talked, and it's opened up the door to an openness of freedom that has a life unlike before. Thank you. My themes include mental health and politics. So again, the main one about politics is a bit heavy, so I've got two really short ones just to ease way into that. So there was obviously, we've had a lot of political activity the last couple of years. We've had a general election, we've had, I believe I can't remember, we've had 2 leadership elections, we've had a snap election. It's all been going on, and you get a bit saturated by it all, don't you? I mean, I'm not one of these people who just thinks it's a farce because I think it's important, but you do get a bit saturated by it all, right?
And the EU referendum.
And the EU referendum, well, of course we had the EU referendum, sorry about that, yeah. So, what I've done at the last snap election, I believe, was a little ditty about party politics shithousery, okay? And it's just to help you remember what the main tact of each party is. So it goes, if in doubt, blame Labour. If in doubt, blame my neighbour. If in doubt, blame Blairites. If in doubt, just switch sides. So Tories, UKIP, Labour and Lib Dem, so I'm looking for 4 sentences. And then, I mean, I've just said I'm a Labour Party member, and I don't want to upset anybody in the room, but my arch nemesis is the Tories, obviously. And, I don't like any of them really, but up there on ones I dislike the most is its leader. So this was my attempt. I think it's called the Limerick. I'm not sure, but there once was a lizard from space with a terribly angular face. She repeats strong and stable as often as able, but in interviews was all over the place. So the more serious one, I'm conscious that I'm taking time here, so I apologise. Yeah. So last year, John Burgo, the Speaker of the House, was involved, and it was on the news even. There was a Tory saying we should be wearing shirts and ties in Parliament, and then there was a Labour guy saying I want to wear an open shirt. And John Burgo got involved, and it was a whole debate about wearing a tie in Parliament, and So this is inspired by that little bit of news that I heard that day. It's called a government dressing down. They're talking about the need to wear a tie. Not poor regulation of social housing regeneration or where the blame lies for the Grenfell Tower disaster and the loss of at least 80 lives. They're talking about the need to wear a tie, not benefit sanctions and work capability assessments and the reasons why in the 3 years to 14, 2,680 people deemed fit subsequently died. They're talking about the need to wear a tie, not failed foreign policy and a fail and prevent strategy in those that die, or 37 on our streets in the last 2 years at the hands of extremism on all sides. They're talking about the need to wear a tie, not stretch mental health services and the 6,000 people each year that decide they're left with no other option than to take their own life. They're talking but they won't be tied. They're talking but it feels like lies. They're talking but they've too much pride to talk about how government decisions contribute to the loss of lives. Cheers, thank you. Michael scenes include mental health, politics and police. So I've kind of already done one about South Shields, and this is the last one, it's not very long, about South Shields. I'm a big fan of the place. That was basically South Shields summed up. You know, I can't really think of anything else that's got off except what I said there. Except Easter, so this is another topical one. Now, I'm led to believe that even in the northeast, nowhere in the northeast goes as bonkers as South Shields does on Good Friday. Like, it's just another day for everybody else. We'll literally lose our shit in South Shields. It's just an absolute free-for-all in South Shields, right? And I don't do it anymore because I've got children, so I just do things like go to National Trust places and that. But I used to get involved when I was a bit younger. And this is called, it's what Jesus would have wanted. The Bambra, the New Crown, the Crab Shack, the Rattler, the route to rub shoulders with all the legends and gangsters, the rig pigs, the on and offshore wind farmers, all of the town's biggest movers and handshakers. Alright mate, what are you up to now? Alright mate, what are you up to now? Alright mate, what are you up to now? I've just finished a PhD specialising in diseases of the heart. Nah, jokes, but I've done my level 2 rope access and I'm looking for a start. And out today is you, this one, your huns and your bros, taking selfies to project good times taken up through the nose. And a crabby tent group photo, guns out for the lasses. Thumbs up for Jesus Christ, he died for the Shields Good Friday masses.